This is a center support bearing. And that is a 2003 Ford SuperDuty with a bad center support bearing. In this video, we'll see what a bad center support bearing looks like, what can cause the center support bearing to go bad, and how to replace it.
If you don't already know where your center support bearing is located, it's between the differential and the transfer case on a four-wheel drive, and between the differential and the transmission on a two-wheel drive, and it's along the driveline. It supports the driveline. This is how to check if you have a bad center support bearing. Just wiggle the drive shaft, and if you see movement like that, you definitely have a problem. It's not the bearing that's gone bad usually. It's the rubber around the bearing that has just been beat apart from the vibrations. I marked both ends of the drive shaft with a paint marker. It slides apart right at that rubber boot, and I want to make sure I get them back together all lined up. Then I'm using a jack stand to support the lower drivetrain, and then I'm using a paint marker to mark it where it comes out of the transfer case as well. The bolts on the back here are 12-point bolts, and they're on here pretty snug. There's 4 of them. So I'm using a cheater bar on a 3/8 ratchet to pop it off. And I probably should be using a breaker bar because those are on there pretty firmly. But that ratchet has seen a lot of abuse, and a little bit more probably isn't going to hurt it. I removed all of the 4 bolts except for one. I don't want this drive shaft crashing down on me just yet. And now I'm removing the 2 bolts that hold the center support bearing in place. I've heard this called the carrier bearing, the center shaft bearing, a drive shaft center support bearing. What do you guys all call it? Once I got those 2 bolts out, I went back to the drive shaft where it comes out of the transfer case, and I hit it with a drift a few times to try and loosen things up, because that's going to be kind of friction bound there. Then I removed the last remaining bolt, and I attempted to knock it free with a dead blow hammer. And that just wasn't working out for me. So I put that bolt back in, and I gave it a few taps with a metal hammer, really light, just trying to break the bond. And you can see it finally broke away. So I removed the last bolt, gave it another tap, and everything broke free. Now I'm dropping the drive shaft out, and I'm pulling it straight out. You can see that splined joint, how it just pulls out right there. All right, now it's up on the bench. And to get at the support bearing, we're going to go ahead and pull this boot off by removing this clamp. Now this metal sleeve just slips right off. And this rubber, if it's far enough gone, it might come off. But this stuff is pretty tough, and it was not yielding itself to being pulled off. So I took an X-Acto knife. It's probably not the sharpest one in the box. I just found it in top of the toolbox, you know, one of those type of deals. And I slowly sliced my way all through the rubber support. That rubber support is shot. Now there's the actual carrier bearing, and to get it off, some people cut this off with an angle grinder, some people try and pound it off with a screwdriver. I'm using a puller, and you might be thinking those arms don't look like they came with that puller, and you're right. One of the things that's nice about having a CNC plasma table in the shop is you can make puller arms as long as you want. So I made those arms, and you can see it works really, really well. If you've ever tried to take one of these off without having a proper puller, you know what I'm talking about. Now I'm making sure the mating surface on the drive shaft is clean. You might be tempted to rub down the whole drive shaft, and you can, but just be careful you don't erase your mark. You can see it at the top right there. There were 2 different washers that came with my support bearing, and I was trying to see which way they went on, and it looks like that big flat one goes towards the drive shaft and kind of interfaces with it there. I'm going to coat the shaft with some anti-seize before putting the bearing on, and this is making me think of Grandpa. Grandpa was an auto mechanic for many years. I remember him talking fondly of anti-seize, and having it in a container this size would have been sure to delight him. Then I pushed on the support bearing. I found a piece of pipe that would fit over the drive shaft and rest on the bearing, not the rubber, and using that I began to pound the bearing on. I think if I were to do this again, I would try standing the drive shaft up vertically on the floor and have someone stabilize it while I tap it on. I think it would be easier that way, and you're not fighting gravity. Once it's completely on, that little metal washer should be fairly snug there. And once it was that way, we were ready to move on to the next portion, which is putting this little washer on. And this was actually a lot tougher than I thought it would be. What would have been helpful is a smaller diameter pipe so that I wasn't slipping around on this washer and pounding it on crooked. But I got it in the end. Now before we install this is a splined slip joint and it needs some lubrication. This is Ford Motorcraft's PTFE lubricant and they specifically recommend it for this application. Some people just use regular grease or whatever they have lying around, but I know someone who had a chronic center support bearing issue where the center support bearing would fail, he'd replace it, it'd fail again, and he finally traced down that problem to not using the PTFE lubricant Ford recommended. So even though you may have other greases on hand, I do recommend this stuff. And besides, it's blue in color and it matches my drive shaft at least, so what's not to love about it? I'm spreading it around and just making sure all of the splines have a good even coating inside of them. Oh wait, I forgot the boot. I would have preferred to put the rubber boot on before lubing everything up, but oh well. I lined up my two lower marks and slip it slowly into place. But when I went up to the transfer case to slip a bolt in, not only were my marks not lining up, my bolt holes weren't even close. So I went and I put the truck into neutral and then I could spin the plate that comes out of the transfer case by hand until my marks lined up. Once my marks lined up, I just slipped a bolt through it to hold it temporarily. Now on the other three bolts, I put on some medium duty thread locker, threaded those in, then I took out the original one, put some thread locker on it, tightened everything down, and then torqued it all to 76 foot-pounds. Or at least I tried. The truck's in neutral right now, so I'm just moving the truck forward. I put the truck in park and was able to torque it. I can't get to the top one with the torque wrench, but off camera, I jacked up the rear of the truck, put everything in neutral, spun the back wheels until the drive shaft came around and torqued the lower one too. This is another problem that causes carrier bearings to fail. There I am calling it carrier bearing again. And I think this is what caused mine to fail. You can see the angle the drive shafts are at, and ideally this should be as close to straight as possible. The problem was probably called when the truck was lifted in the past and they didn't drop the carrier bearing. As a rule of thumb, for every inch of lift, you're supposed to drop the carrier bearing or the center support bearing by 1/4 of an inch. So this truck has about a 4-inch lift on it, so I'm cutting a spacer out of 1x2 material and drilling a couple holes. This is a pretty thick wall material, so I think it will work just fine. This piece of steel is a remnant. It was left over from another job, and that job was actually for a high-end home in Nevada. It was a part of a wine rack build. So it's a little bit funny that part of that actually ends up on this 20-plus-year-old truck, but you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Then I used a couple of longer bolts. I'll link what size and thread pattern those are in the description below, and tightened everything up with a little bit of medium thread locker. And that's what a carrier bearing or center support bearing should look like with the rubber tight. I tightened up that clamp and look at the angle on the drive shaft now. That is so much better. It's almost straight and you want it ideally to be straight.
That's a wrap. If this video was helpful, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. If there was something you think I should have done differently, please let me know in the comments below. As usual, torque specs, part names, part numbers, and other critical information will be in the description. If you like content like this, please subscribe.